Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno. As we travel to North London this evening to speak to Brendan Gleeson about his new film at the world premiere of Hampstead. Watching the performance last night, it was enchanting to watch this man who, what you see is what you get. And is that what attracted to you when you read the part?
Yeah, I think it's probably what you know, in terms of the fiction of the movie, in terms of what's the romance of the movie. I think their honesty with each other is what sparks the initial thing. Exactly that is what you see is what you get. It's a little disarming at times and a little bit, but you know, there was it was easy to see there was somebody living in there.
Absolutely. And I saw the character as well having this immense sense of pride. He might live in what appears to be a shack, but he is actually a clean, and he took pride in himself, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that was one thing I wanted to kind of do, even in terms of just to kind of establish it that he was living on his own rules, and he had a certain pride in the way that he was doing it. He was happy in his own skin up to a point. There were certain issues in his life that he had to deal with, you know, the fact that he ran away from certain situations, but fundamentally he was happy in his own skin. And all of that, you know, it was important that he wasn't overly smelly in terms of romance.
And this the character. How
strange can Diane Keaton be? You know what I mean? Like, so we did kind of emphasise that maybe a small bit.
Well, we can suspend disbelief.
Yes, indeed. This is what it is.
It's based on a man that really did exist, but we don't really know much about him. So did that give you the kind of creative freedom to adapt him into who you wanted him to be?
Well, I was kind of very clear about the fact that it wasn't him, and I tried to speak to him and it didn't work, but I wrote him a letter and stuff like that, and I got a certain amount of signals back about the fact that he didn't want to be a part of it, but he was okay with it being made. So it kind of gives you a license then to go outside of that and just to create the character that's in the pages. And so that's what I did. I mean, there was a certain crossover, but it was, I took the inspiration from the writing rather than necessarily trying to figure out who Harry actually had been.
It's such a lovely story, isn't it?
Yeah, gorgeous story, and it's a true story too, apparently.
Based on a real man.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
I don't know whether your character is, because when I watched it, you're so powerful on in the court there. Well, what was it like playing that part?
Oh, it was lovely. I mean, it was sort of comical, you know, but you know, it was rather touching as well, rather moving when you find out that he's been homeless himself, and that's why he helped him out. So it was a mixture of sort of comedy and pathos, really, which was fun.
Was that something that was written into the script, or was it actually true?
I don't know. I don't know whether that's the true story. But obviously, I mean, you know, he needed a witness to actually lay claim to the land because it was worth a fortune.
I'll tell you what, credit to you, because we all discussed it afterwards. We all thought that storyline was real. You brought that much kind of conviction to it. So.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very pleased.
That's all right. And when you read the script as a whole, what did you think of it as a story?
Oh, well, I thought it was smashing. I mean, I thought, you know, obviously it's a romantic comedy, and you know, and Hampstead is very beautiful, so you could see what kind of film it was going to be. I didn't know when I read it that it was actually a true story. I found that out subsequently. So.
Because it is a real love letter to North London and Hampstead, isn't it?
Yeah, perhaps it will do for Hampstead what Notting Hill did for Notting Hill.
That's what they say.
That's what they're hoping for, yes.
Your part's a lot of fun in this film, isn't it?
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to. I've seen myself in ADR, so I know the scenes I've been in. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, I made sure it was fun.
But when you at the beginning of your career, you didn't think that you would be playing for the attentions of Diane Keaton.
No, that is yes, that's true. Well, I mean, it was. She did start talking about The Godfather at one point, and we just shared a few stories very warmly and kindly, and yeah. So, and I'm trying to think when I saw that, but she was very young, I think, when she made it. I think it was her first film, wasn't it, or first or second film? So yeah, that was what a thrill. Absolute thrill, you know, Hollywood royalty and all that. And she was a very hard-working and extremely talented, brilliant person to work with, and interested in life and in work and all those things. And you know, that's what one hopes with these kind of people.
Meet those old people.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I know I have stories which I can't repeat about people who do meet their heroes and they're not as heroic as they thought they were. But she certainly is a heroine. So yeah.
And for you, when you read the script, was there anything particular that endeared you to it?
Well, in terms of my character, I just thought I was just trying to find the comedy in it. I mean, I know that there was a clear comic angle to the character. I wasn't going to go in the places that, those areas that both Diane and Brendon go in terms of the relationships and the exploration of that relationship. My character doesn't necessarily deal with that, but had to think about his hopes and his wishes and what he wanted out of this relationship with Diane.
His motivation.
His motivation. It was, what was it? I mean,
one track, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. He also wanted to get his ukulele out, if I can say that.
I don't know how to finish that. Follow that up. This is an enchanting story, isn't it? What did you think when you first read the script?
Oh, I thought it was lovely. Well, the first thing I thought was, I hope they get Brendan Gleeson to play the lead, because it was just perfect for him, and they did. So, and with Diane as well, you just think, wow, that's going to be amazing, and it is. So.
And you get to play some great scenes with them as well, don't you?
Yeah, I get to give Brendan Gleeson an eviction notice, which is quite scary. But
it's a brave thing. Isn't it?
Yeah, he's a big presence. But yeah, which was tremendous. As an actor to have a scene with an actor of that standing. I mean, obviously a huge fan of his. So it was wonderful to do. Yeah.
And of course, with what you're having to do as your part, it really does give some grounding to the story, because these are real things that happen to people, aren't they?
Yeah, people, London and housing and public space and all of those kind of issues, yeah.
And it feels like when you watch the film, it's a real love letter to North London. Is that what you felt when you were reading the script?
Yes, it's kind of like the London I think we all wish we live in some ways, definitely has that feel.
And working with the director, he feels like somebody that he's a real kind of actor's director, because this is an actor's piece, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I was lucky enough that Joel had already contacted me via Bueno Banks, a mutual friend, about writing with him in some way. So I already had sort of touched base, and then by coincidence I auditioned and he gave me the part. So it was really nice to, especially doing a scene with someone as big a star as Brendon, to know that I actually kind of vaguely had a connection with the director, so that kind of relaxed me slightly. But yeah, Joel was brilliant to work with, and it seemed very relaxed on set, and everyone was very happy to be there.
When you're talking about a presence like Brendon's, he strikes me as an actor that's kind of really in the moment, and he is this kind of tour de force, isn't he, that you can just really react off.
Yeah, well, he has such kind of depth and kind of heft, and he really you can it's just such an integrity to him as a presence, but I mean, not going to forget that it's also Diane Keaton's in this film, who was not, you kind of think, oh yeah, Diane Keaton, Woody Allen film, Annie Hall, and then you go, oh my god, she was in The Godfather as well. You kind of like forget, oh yeah, and that film she did. I mean, so being in a film with an icon like that, again, is just knockout.
Pinch yourself.
Yeah. You just go, oh, how's this happened?
When you got the script and you knew you were going to be playing alongside Diane Keaton, gosh, I bet you couldn't believe your luck, could you?
I couldn't. I remember I got the call, and it was my agent sort of calling. She just said, Peter, what do you think of Diane Keaton? And I was like, Diane Keaton, and I just went into this whole thing like she's revolutionised the romantic comedy, blah, blah, blah. It was just such a huge thing. I mean, I've grown up sort of watching, you grow up watching Godfather and Annie Hall, and I was just saying, like, she sort of wrote the book on romantic comedies. So to be doing a romantic comedy with Diane Keaton was just a dream come true. It really was. It was sort of, you don't say no to jobs like this, and
you don't indeed.
So it was great.
And to shoot in such lovely, prestigious locations as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think it's like one of the, it's like first film that's really taken advantage of what Hampstead's all about. I mean, it's such a lovely location, and I think that it really, so it's one of the big characters in the film is Hampstead, and I think Joel just really sort of managed to capture that, and it was just a lot of fun. I mean, playing Xavier, who's like this sort of concierge who certainly doesn't belong in Hampstead. He's not born and bred Hampsteader. He's a Bradford lad like me. I just played myself really, but yeah. So it's really interesting to see how he fits into it all. It was, it was really a great place to film.
Yeah, and your kind of character it is, because he's so the opposite to everybody else that lives in there. Right? It kind of gives that balance, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's a total fish out of water, is Xavier, and yet, at the same time, there's this connection that he has with Diane's character that was just so much fun to explore. It was like, he's the one guy who kind of gets her in a way that a lot of other people don't, and because I think they both are in a way. She's from America and he's from up north, and they're both kind of fish out of water in a sense, and so there's certainly that connection within the characters, and.
Something that you did explore with Diane as in kind of pre-production?
We did, yeah. We had a bit of time. We just sort of we were just hanging out with her. I think it came really quick. I mean, I was saying that, when you get the call and you kind of go, oh my God, I'm going to work with her. But Diane is, a lot of people say that, but she's just genuinely the most down-to-earth, lovely person. There's no airs or graces. And the moment you're on set with her, it's just fun. She makes it really fun, and you don't realise, you don't sort of. It's like you're not really, it's not Diane Keaton anymore. She's Emily, and I'm Xavier, and it was just, it came very quickly, that sort of rapport, and Joel was amazing, just allowed to sort of improv a few lines and just sort of really get into it. So it did develop. It developed very quickly, that sort of that bond and the rapport that I had with.
See that on screen.
Oh, you can. Oh, I'm glad.
Absolutely.
I'm glad it's coming across. Yeah, no, that's great.
Now, obviously, we've got two great tour de forces in the film, but another tour de force is obviously Hampstead itself. Yeah. And when you were filming this, I really felt that you were really writing a love letter to Hampstead.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, I grew up actually in Hampstead, so I went to primary school just over on the other side of that building, a place called New End, and I was just saying This cinema used to have a bar. It's now screen number 2, but it used to have a bar in the basement, and it used to be a real hangout when I was a teenager. So it's all very, personal.
Coming home, coming home stuff for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a responsibility because I had to juggle, this is a commercial romantic comedy, and trying to find that balance between wanting to depict a place I love so much, depict it sort of with a bit of realism, but at the same time, it's a movie that's got to play in sort of the middle America, and so I hope I got the balance right.
You certainly did. And I think, as well, as you said, it's a romantic comedy, but it's grounded in this realism of protecting your home and what's knowing your place and belonging, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, Brendon's a great one for keeping things real, and I think we used each other as a sort of barometer. When I got too sort of rom-com-y, he would call me back, and when he got a bit too real, I'd say come back a bit. So, but yeah, no, it does have some at its core. It's hard. It has some sort of important issues. I mean, I'm wary because if I was making a film about housing, I would go into much more detail. It's the backdrop to our story, and I think there's so much more to say. And so I'm wary of sort of saying, yeah, we're fighting that good cause, but it is about we dip our fingers into luxury housing and luxury flats that people are buying and not living in and things like that. And it is about home. It's about, I think for me the important thing is owning a home. When your home is threatened, you don't feel very free. You have to stay there and protect it. When you have a home and it's yours and you're not going to lose it, it allows you to be free and go and explore the world. So I think there's, in a weird way, when your actual home is under threat, it makes you a sort of prisoner. You have to stay at home and defend it. So that makes sense, I think.
Without the screenwriter, there's no film, so...
Thank you very much. A lot of people don't know that, but no, thank you.
That's all right. Well, I think watching this film, it's been pegged as a romantic comedy, but it's based in a lot more realism than that, isn't it? It is based on a real person that exists.
It is, and we had a lot of respect for the fact that Harry inspired this story, that he was this inimitable force, and his message of living in a very specific way where he was not going to abide by society's rules was what really was one of the things that inspired us.
Imagine, was he easy to research outside of Hampstead?
The film is inspired by him and his experience. So I actually wanted to be careful not to draw too much from his life, because if you go there, you go all the way. And this was really, we wanted to take more of his message and his circumstances and then build from there.
And with regards to building, you've got these two tour de forces as actors. It almost feels like the film was written for these in mind. Did you have them, in mind when you wrote the part?
No, I didn't. I can tell you that I didn't actually. A lot of times you write with actors in mind, and I had just these characters that over years, it was several years in the writing of this, that they eventually kind of created themselves and were kind of living in my head. And then when the casting happened, it was freaky in the way that it matched the characters.
And, when you watch the film, it's such a love letter to Hampstead and North London. How much did you actually have to get to know the area to be able to kind of write it so well, so it can be transferred onto the big screen?
I did a lot of touring. We hired several tour guides, and my bookshelf is littered with walking Hampstead tours, and it's wonderful because there's so much. It's so rich, the history here, and then you look at this park and you see it used to be provide water for the king, and all these factoids that just create really this beautiful tapestry here.